Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. This is Monica, Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV. And first of all, I want to thank you so much. I have such gratitude for you being here and giving us your time, giving us your presence. I know there's so many competing offerings all around the media and social media, and everybody wants to grab your attention, but we have somebody really special who's going to offer you tremendous value and tremendous reflection and perhaps shift the perspectives that we have right now about the current situation and the future situation as it evolves and as we are creating it. So thank you again from my heart. And Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV is dedicated to bringing outstanding leaders, community builders, healers, influencers, people who bring value and empower and bring healing to individuals and communities alike. And today we have somebody very special who's going to, like I said, bring you tremendous value, and somebody I'm very, very proud and humbled to introduce. We have Karen Giuffre, and Karen is a progressive educator, progressive education visionary, keynote speaker, and the founding director of Voyagers Community School in New Jersey. Karen believes that education should nurture our children, who are the biggest asset to our communities. And she's shifting and disrupting the educational paradigm as it is currently in place. Wow. Karen is an active member of a number of boards, progressive organizations, committees, where she shares her expertise in nonprofit operations, in curriculum development, and overall in the educational revolution and disruption of the way education is currently perceived and practiced in overall in our country, and I believe in the world. And she's poised to help schools across the schools, all the schools and all the school systems to integrate progressive approaches. And I think most importantly, what I understand about Karen's work is that she puts the student at the forefront. It is all to benefit children, to benefit students, who are the asset of our future, of our community. So what could be more important if we take a long view? Karen is also a public speaker. She is a media influencer. She is out there in the community, thoroughly dedicated to her vision and her mission of disrupting and changing educational system. And I would say that Karen brings this new life to what education means and what it actually can mean for our communities, for the student, for the family, for the parents, for the teachers, educators, and I would say for the entire world. So welcome, Karen. Thank you so much for being here. I'm truly honored and privileged to have you on this Zoom interview, and we're going to share on Facebook, and we're going to have a recording. So if anybody's joining us, please post comments and post your comments and questions that you may have for Karen as well. So welcome, Karen. Huge gratitude. Honored to have you. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. What an amazing introduction. Thank you so much. I am really also humbled to have been asked and to have a platform to share what I think is absolutely essential and important for all of us. You talk about empowering your health and empowering your life, and we must start to also understand and believe that we can help children to empower their health and their lives. And if we teach them early on and we respect them as such, then they will be amazing, amazing people who will help us along as we age and mature and need their support and their empathy and their compassion and their critical thinking skills. So I think it's a yin and yang, a give and take, and I love the opportunity to be on this platform. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I with privilege we're gonna help you, and I want to publicize your message because I know it's very deep and broad, and it's a visionary approach to children, to education, and to our future, because we are all connected. Like you say, our children are going to take care of us in the future, and so we need to take care of them. It's a loop, it's a circle. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. So please, well, tell us what's on your mind today.
Oh, wow. So, Monica, when we first talked about doing this, right, we weren't talking about the challenges that we're facing today. And so the thought was slightly different maybe than where we are in this moment. But I think ultimately my thought always is to see children as powerful, resourceful, and competent, to see and understand and believe that children have intelligence, wonder, the magic of curiosity, and the ability to try and try again. They have an intellectual sense of the world, and they, with mentorship and with respect and care, guidance and teaching, they are there's such a bright light, there's such brilliance in children, and frankly it reflects back, so that brilliance between the adult and the child becomes much brighter together. And so so the platform that I chose to deliver this initially was in schooling. And so I started the school, as you said, Voyagers Community School in Eatontown, New Jersey, was started in 2004. And it was a small school of 7 children initially, and it grew to 17, and it grew to 30, and it grew to 43, and it grew to 60 something, and it went to 87. And so, it's grown, not just in the ages that we serve, because initially we served children between the age of 5 and 10, but now we serve children between the ages of 3 months and 18 years of age. So we have this full range of young people who come to school every day and just come to school happy. They want to be there. Parents report all the time when the weekend comes, the children the little ones are asking for their teachers. The older ones, in fact, some of the children in one of the classrooms this week was challenged with the question, should we have school on Saturdays? And it was so sweet to see the replies. I mean, some certainly said no, and they had great reasons why. Everybody had a great reason why, but lots of children said yes, because the school is a continuation of their family, and they like to be with their families on Saturdays.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so that tells you a little bit about the camaraderie in the school. The difference in this school is that we understand that there's a whole person in front of us, and that it's important for us to educate that whole person. And to educate oneself is not just to grow your intellectual capacity, but your social and emotional capacity. And so we are very thoughtful of the whole person. This has been such an important piece of what we're doing now, as children are being told to stay home, and as teachers are being told to stay home, and as we are in a condition where a strong community like this is having to find other ways to continue to be a strong community, to continue to be connected with each other, to see each other, to hear each other, and to celebrate each other, and to hold each other up when those times come. So it's been a fascinating challenge, but one that I think we were positioned for, because this is what we do. So we didn't have to reinvent a wheel. It's what we do. So let's figure out how to do it with some physical distance, not social distancing, as is the terminology everybody's using. I think earlier today I was speaking to a gentleman, a friend of mine, Peter Swain, and he said to me, that word, that phrase is so wrong, because we are social beings and we need to be social. It's part of our composition. We need to be distanced because of the circumstances we're in, but it's a physical distance, not a social distance. And I found myself puzzling. I wonder if we could shift the words. Could we change the words? Could we suddenly hear the media saying physical distance instead of social distance? That's really my goal. But it just shines a light on how I think, because I think that anything is possible. I live my life believing that anything is possible. So when I hear something like that and I think, oh, I wonder if, my answer always is, of course you can. You just have to figure out how. And that's the way we work with children. So very rarely do you hear the word no. What you're hearing from us is, that's interesting. How would you do that? Do you think it's possible? You know, anything is possible. What would that look like? So it could be something simple. It could be a child who comes in, and we had this recently where a child came in and they said, we used to do Mix It Up Day at lunch. So Mix It Up Day was this day during the week where we had placemats, and we went down and we placed them in the dining room willy-nilly. And wherever your placemat was, that's where you sat, with the thinking that children generally sit with the same people every day. So what would happen if we mixed it up? And for some reason, when we came into this school year, the teachers didn't do it. They didn't do Mix It Up Day, and the kids didn't do Mix It Up Day. So we were in school about 3 months when an 8-year-old came to us and said, I want Mix It Up Day. I don't know why we're not doing it. And I think we need it. We have to have it. At that point, many of the children were used to the fact that there wasn't Mix It Up Day. And so she had to campaign for Mix It Up Day. And we said to her, you can probably do this. I think it's quite possible, but how are you going to get your colleagues, your peers, your friends, your classmates to join you in this effort to reinstitute Mix It Up Day? And so she talked about it. She went through a lot of iterations. There's this lovely picture of her, and she's 8. So, she stands maybe about this tall. And she's next to a very tall 16-year-old, and she's looking up, she's craning her neck and convincing him that he should vote for Mix It Up Day.
Oh my God, oh, that's so beautiful.
And it's an example of how we've empowered them to speak their mind, to articulate their ideas, and to stand in their position and try and make change. And in a community like ours, there's a great deal of respect around that. And there's value in that. And she did ultimately, with some compromise, reinstate Mix It Up Day.
Wow. What a beautiful story.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the possibilities, right? We're living in the possibilities. So when we heard that so I have to tell you that when this whole issue came up, and you'll probably realize that I'm very purposely not saying what it is. So I'd rather keep positive in my mind than negative, but we all know what it is, so we don't need to say it, right?
Yes.
So when this challenge came to us, my first statement was, oh, I'm not closing the school. There's no way. We can't. They need us. We need them. We're going to stick it out. And by the next day, that night, I went home and I looked at all the data from everywhere and tried to make sense of it. And I came in the next morning and I said, we could be the first private school to close, or we could be the last private school to close. My thought is that we should be the first private school to close, because at that point, the World Health Organization came out and said, this is a global issue, and it can only be resolved if we as global citizens take action. We are a school founded in social justice and global concerns. And when that happened, I said to myself and then to my colleagues, if we don't close the school, then we're not being true to who we are. And we always say we stand on our philosophical foundation. So our philosophical foundation says that we are to care for the planet, for the people on this earth, and for the good well-being of every living thing as global citizens. So let's be global citizens. And so I went out that afternoon with a letter and went to every car the parents picked up and explained that we would be closing and why we would be closing.
Mhm.
And there too is the action that says we are a community, right? Because I could have just put the letters in the backpacks and sent them home, but I thought it was essential to have that face-to-face moment with every parent to say, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and to take the heat for the few parents who were out of their minds because we were the first. And so they didn't really know how to handle that. But and then so that was on a Wednesday. We came back together Thursday with the kids, and Friday we dismissed them at noon. And again, I went out and greeted every car to say, you're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. If you need anything, you'll call us. We're here for you, and you're going to see us, and you're going to be part of an amazing community. Wow. And so with that commitment, we designed a live school. With the help of Zoom and Seesaw and Google Classroom and so many other wonderful technologies, we have been able to be online with our children, from our littlest ones to our eldest ones, every day. So we launched on Wednesday, and we started with a preschool meeting, and the little kids were on computers and iPads at home watching, and the teachers they held morning meeting, they did show and share, they sang songs, they got to open the bags. The teachers sent home bags with art supplies and books and all kinds of things picked for each child, and they got to open them and see what's in the bags. And then we had a toddler meeting, so we had these little 8-month-old to 24-month-old little ones talking to each other, seeing each other, touching the screen. I see Ben, I see, and then, and it went on all day. It was fabulous. And so now we've done 3 days of online schooling. Teachers have had Fit Friday, where they've run exercise classes. We've sung happy birthday. We've debated concepts in suffrage issues and genocide, and we've done art together, and we've had read alouds, and it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what's happening, and the children and the parents are so involved that they're home doing things and recording them and sending them to us. Look what we've done. So today I got a wonderful video from a young child. She's a 3rd grader, and she's reading books, and she wants us to share it with all the other students so that she can be part of the read aloud process.
Wow. Wow. Well, wow. That's all I can say, Karen. I mean, you're taking a situation that we're in and redefining it as an opportunity, right? As an opportunity to actually take it even wider, to actually strengthen the connection, right? Maybe the physical separation exists and it's necessary. Like you said, this is a part of social responsibility that your vision is founded on. So you have to follow with that, to be in congruence, to be in integrity.
That's right.
But we can take it, turn it around, right? And redefine it as an opportunity to learn how can we actually get more connected in this situation. Learn and experiment.
And how can we assure children that they can trust us?
Yes.
Right? We're doing it in part because we said to them from day one, we are here for you. I mean, before this ever happened, right? As a community, we are here for you. You are here for us. We are here together. And so we made a promise. And so then it becomes, how do you keep your promise? And that is to continue to be as connected as you can. It's all, right now, it's all new and it's a little fun, but that's going to wear off. And then the reality of the situation is going to kick in, and there's going to be some fear around it, and there's going to be some loss, and there's going to be lots of confusion, and the children will need us more than ever. They'll need us more than ever. And so knowing that and being there for them, but also the other thing is being there for parents. So Thursday night we held a digital parent meeting. How are we doing? How are you doing? How can we help? What could be different? And we'll hold a weekly parent meeting. on Thursday evenings, and then on every other Tuesday when we're in school, I host a coffee with Karen where parents come around my table. I'm going to hold coffee with Karen on Tuesday morning, but it'll be like this. It'll be digital.
Yes.
So it's really, really holding your word, that integrity, as you say, that congruency, and being present and supportive and caring for all our stakeholders.
Yes. And using this situation as an educational environment for children by modeling that, you know, you can trust me because I'm here for you and I will do my very best to find out solutions. So you don't lose with the situation, that we learn together. I think there's a part that's coming up for me that it's really a community effort where we all are, you know, learning on our feet right now.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's an interesting time, but what an opportunity as well. And let's redefine it. And you know what also touches me when I listen to you, you know, you talk about children with such joy, such love and warmth, and I can see that inspiration that you have, and I wonder how did it all start for you?
That's so interesting. You know, I really believe that understanding your roots empowers you to craft your future. So I've done a lot of kind of looking back and trying to understand where this came from. And the only thing I can say is that I've always been a teacher. I feel like I would, as if I were born a teacher. And I have admired some teachers, which is very helpful to have in your repertoire, teachers that you loved. I am one of 5 children born to young parents in Brooklyn, New York. And my mother was quite young, and so in many ways my mother grew up with us, and she had 5 children in 7 years. So that was a lot for a young mother. Fortunately, I have the good fortune of having a very stable family, and my parents were very loving with us and between them. So that was my good fortune. My heritage is Italian, and that's a romantic heritage in a sense. So there's a lot of people to have admired. My aunt, my grandmother, who was the world to me, was always very open, generous, and taught me to sew, taught me to cook, and kind of taught me how to see the world. So I think she also had a young spirit. And I'm the second eldest. I have an older brother, and then I'm the second eldest girl, again, an Italian family that has a lot of responsibility. So I really did, in many ways, take care of my siblings. But, you know, I also was somebody who was driven. I was always driven to do whatever I thought to do. I remember as a young person, I would think, I wonder if, and I don't know where this came from, but I would say, I wonder if, and my mind would say, it has to have happened somewhere. I had this vision that maybe on the other side of the globe that it happened, but somebody had made that happen, whatever that wonder if was. And again, I cannot tell you where that came from. But so I think that I've always had that anything is possible spirit. But as I grew up, I took on great responsibilities at a young age. So I was a dancer and I taught dance classes. I was one of the youngest dance teachers in the studio. I ran scout troops. I was one of the youngest in that arena. I went off to college, and I had it in my head that I had to get it done because it was life ahead of me. And so instead of a 4-year college education, I did a 3-year college education. So I was always driven. But in all of that, I was always a teacher. So even in college, although I studied political science and communications, I have many credits in art and in dance, and I choreographed dances and I taught dance. And so again, it comes back to that theme of teaching. When I graduated from college, I took a job in Manhattan in an insurance company, and it was an admirable position. And I was doing quite well, but at 6 months when I had my review and they said, you know, you're doing great, I said, I'm leaving. This isn't for me. And what did I do? I went off to Massachusetts and I found a a long-term sub position, and I taught 5th, 6th, and 8th grade social studies.
Mm.
And I was very lucky because I had the chair of the department just kind of let me do what you're going to do. You know, they were so happy to have a teacher in the room, I think. And so I had the noisiest, most active classroom, and everybody talked about it. But my kids loved coming to school, and they loved coming to that period and learning about social studies in a way that they hadn't had ever experienced. No one had taught them in a way that was so engaging, and brought to the fore the opportunity to use all your senses and to learn in the way you learn best, right? So some of us are kinesthetic learners, and some of us it's auditory, and so on and so forth. And this way, all your senses were in it, so every child was going to learn. And that was the start. That right there, that moment was the start. And I did a lot of other things. I taught fitness classes. I went to get a master's degree in exercise physiology. And I wound up working for an organization, an association in Virginia. And I helped to write a physical education curriculum that was built around health and fitness and was cross-curricular. It was one of the first times that I think people were talking about cross-curricular, how the phys ed teacher could take this and ask the math teacher to teach a component, and the reading teacher to teach a component, and the health teacher to teach a component.
Wow.
And it was amazing. I worked with incredible people. Arnold Schwarzenegger was involved, and many leaders around the country. And I also got to go from a concept to a package. So from a concept to colors, logo, package design, publishing, distribution, training trainers to go around the country, leading conferences. It was the skills that I developed in that position were remarkable. And so these are all pieces that came together when I decided to open this school. But the decision to open this school came from the fact that I have 3 children. I have a son who is 34, and I have 2 24-year-olds. And so in a sense, I had the chance to do things over again. So my son, my eldest, went to the local public school, small community. I was classroom mom, treasurer of the PTO, vice president of the PTO. I did all the things that you're supposed to do as a mom. And yet my son wasn't thriving in school. And this bright, precocious, incredibly curious and innovative child was being lost. Little by little, little piece by little piece by little piece by little piece, he was being lost. And I would go to school and say, why, what is happening? Why is he not? And I always had to tell this story because, we'd have conferences, and you had 15 minutes, maybe, if you were lucky. And you walk in, and the teacher would say to me, oh, he's such a gentleman, and he's so handsome, and he's so kind, and he's so, and I finally would have to walk in and say, okay, let me tell you, he's this, this, and this, and we know it, and he's an amazing person. But what about the academics? What's happening? Because he's shutting off, he's turning off. And he would come home angrier and more frustrated, and nobody had an answer. But my answer was not that he wasn't bright. He was incredibly bright, but nothing in the room turned the lights on. Nothing that was happening spoke to him. And so as I'm seeing him get increasingly frustrated, I have these 2 little ones who are now ready to go to school. And I think to myself, there must be something better. There has to be something better out there. That's that anything is possible philosophy, right? So I went around my community, and I went to see every preschool I could find, every one of them. And I went in, and honestly, I didn't know enough to know what I was looking for, but I have an intuition. And I knew that I could rely upon my intuition to find the right place. And I fortunately walked into a school just a couple of miles from my home. It was probably the 3rd or 4th school I had looked at among probably a dozen schools. And I didn't know what it was that I was looking at, but I knew that the children were happy. They were being spoken to like people. They would be being given authentic tools and authentic challenges. They were being heard. and they were being loved and cared for.
Mm.
And so I enrolled my kids because this was the magic, right? And then I got very lucky, and partly because of my own sense of curiosity, that I became friendly with the director of the school. And over the 4 years that my children attended, I say I got as much of an education, if not more, than what they got. And I realized that they needed this to continue, and all children needed this to continue, and it had to happen. And I would go to the director and say, the school ended at first grade. Let's expand it, let's expand it, let's expand it. And she just was ready to retire. And so I said, okay, then I'll have to start a school. And it was literally that. It was just, okay, I'll start a school.
Oh my God. Well, you are on the mission to turn the light on. I feel, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Lights on, let's go.
Lights on. It doesn't take that much, but it takes a huge amount of, I feel, sense of mission and drive, energy, vision. You are a visionary. And that is just, I don't even know what the word would be, but it's, we need people like you here in those communities, because it's so easy to forget that we are in control of our future. Because if not us, who else, right?
Who else? Yeah.
We have to turn the switch on.
That's right. We can't wait for other people to do it.
Yes, exactly.
Just
want to, yes. And I just want to jump in here really quick, because we have quite a few people watching. We have Jamie Son, we have Robert Gill, we have Sergio, Erica, Nita, we have Krishna Chiri, Marta Perales, Robin Crouch, Robin saying amazing, of course. Vivian Guzman joined. We have a beautiful group here. So I want to invite everybody, if please post questions, please post comments. I'm sure that Karen will be more than happy to answer and involve you all, as we are here in the community, practicing a social connection. And so I'm thank you so much for your time, you guys.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here. This is exciting.
Absolutely. So please jump in, ask questions, and or post comments. We would love to share all that. All right. Well, Karen, so it's almost like you're on the mission since you were a child, as the second oldest in an Italian family with a lot of responsibilities, but it comes from your heart, right?
Yes.
It really is a life mission of creating those environments where children can be truly heard and listened to, and enabled to actually shine their brightness and light, and bring their assets to us. And so I would please tell us more about, you already talked about what's going on at this moment, how you're turning this situation into another opportunity. But tell us more about the Voyagers School and what's its mission, and how do you see it right now?
Sure. Yeah. So the school is my project, my passion project, right? So it is taking the ideas that I have and putting them into action. So before I even started the school, I had a vision statement for the school, and by the time I started it, I had the entire philosophical foundation of the school written. And the way that I did that was that I did a great deal of studying and writing. It's an immense amount of studying and writing, researching, meeting education leaders, practitioners, philosophers, theorists. I traveled throughout the United States to many, many, many different kinds of schools. I traveled to Italy, and I went to the Reggio Emilia schools and spent time in those schools. And I really, I took all this information and molded it, in a sense, to what I thought was responsive to the community that I was in. So the school is the school provides for the children all the academic things that they need. I say all the time, I could teach academics all day long, right? I could teach math facts, I could teach history and dates, and I could teach those things. That's not the hard part. The challenging part is teaching it so that it's meaningful, teaching it so that they want to learn it, teaching it so they can see the practical use in learning it. And then allowing them to show us what they know and what they are yet to know, concepts they did not absorb the way we thought they might, concepts that they want to take further, concepts that they've just got, and they can teach us even more. So when we are developing curriculum in our school, we never develop a year-long curriculum. You will never see, if you came to we have mixed grades in our school. So if you came to a kindergarten through second grade classroom this year, and you came again next year, you would be in completely different classrooms in a sense, because it is speaking to the children around the teacher and their interests. So for instance, if the children are interested in trains and we are interested in teaching them American history, we have to figure out how to let them explore trains and the things that they want to do around that while we teach them history. Well, that's perfect, because we can teach them about the Transatlantic Railroad and how we moved to the West and all of the cultural, social, historical, mathematical aspects of that period of time in our history, while they are literally trying to recreate it. So maybe they're building it in clay, maybe they're building it in blocks, maybe they're building it in cardboard, maybe they're building it, but maybe it's pasta, they're engineering, and we're creating challenges so they can feel what it might have felt like to create this railway system, and we're teaching them history. So I have children today who are sophomores in high school, so they're in second year of high school. They learned that when they were in the K-2 classroom, and they still talk about those lessons. They still remember them. They'll refer back and say, I just had American history, and guess what they talked about? And I knew all about it. So it's making everything meaningful. So for instance, we teach chemistry. Every fourth year we teach chemistry. And one day I have an educator visiting the school, and he wants to see what it's all about. And he says, I'm going to go up to the high school and see the chemistry lesson. He gets up at the high school, and just as he gets up, the kids are getting up from their seats and they're leaving the room. And he says, oh, well, what's happening here? What's going on? And they said, follow us. And they went down to the kitchen and they cooked. And through cooking, they were able to understand the concept in chemistry that they were being taught. They're never going to forget that concept. And someday they're going to be in their kitchen, who knows, with their parents, with their friends, with their own children, and they'll teach that very same concept. So everything has a meaning, so that you never hear kids saying, why do I have to learn this? Everything has a meaning. And so they are more invested. And we, as what we call teacher researchers, so our teachers are not teachers, they're teacher researchers. We, by nature of collecting data from what we see, what we hear, what we sense, we're using that data to continuously create curriculum, continuously create the deliverable, whatever that may be, continuously create the environment. So our school is absolutely beautiful. Our school is in an old school building. It was built in 1908, and it has the original hardwood floors. It has the massive windows. I renovated this building. It was a derelict, boarded up building, renovated it from outside in, inside out. And all the natural light comes in, and you can see the trees in the surrounding area. And you can see everything because we brought in as little material as we could. So it's all exposed brick, the original hardwood floors, no ceiling. So you see all the rafters, you see all the electric, the plumbing, you see it all. So kids know, there's no question about what happens when I flush the toilet, because when I flush the toilet, I hear it in the pipes and I can see the pipes.
Oh my God.
So even the building itself is teaching children.
Yes.
So everything is, as I say, a teachable moment. Everything is a teaching tool. And the most important thing is the understanding that as much as we teach them, they are teaching us. That it's this give and take. And this this live, almost living culture in the school.
Oh, beautiful. Robin Crouch saying, can I go back to the kindergarten? And I was just thinking the same thing. I want to go back to school.
Yes, yes. So often parents come to see it and they say, oh, I only
Yes.
wish. And what would I have
Yeah.
been? They'll ask, what would I have
Yes.
been had I gone to a school like this?
This is it's an amazing vision, and every moment is a teachable moment, and this is actually happening. It's not just a saying, it's not just theory, it's actually happening in the Voyagers school.
Yeah.
Which I can only imagine how much work and commitment and constant vigilance and taking the feedback and acting on it in real time, how much of that it takes, and being aware. And I wonder, can you tell us more about the community, the teachers, the parents, the children? What kind of community are you coagulating around yourself, around the Voyager School?
Yeah, so some people will say, oh, those children, they must have some learning issue, that's why they're there. And that is the farthest thing from the truth. So our children are typically developing children and as a population, very reflective of a population in any school. So we have children who have do need a little bit more support, or need a little bit more thoughtfulness from the professionals in the building. But our children are typical, joyful, happy, inquisitive, wondrous kids. Our teachers, some are certified and have been trained as teachers, but most do not have a certification. Most have degrees in other fields. And have come to teaching because they have a heart and a passion for teaching. And they want to teach in a way that is not stifling. So oftentimes teachers will come to us and they've come from traditional settings and they have been told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, what to say, without question. And they feel less than, and they don't find themselves in this, in the picture of teaching that they had, right? So we have those teachers, and we have, we have very, very well credentialed. We have PhDs and master's degrees and postmaster's degree, master's work, and we have people who really care. They really care. And they love kids, even on the toughest day. And trust me, there are days we, oh boy, I mean, every once in a while, somebody will utter, the school would be so much easier if we didn't have any kids.
Right.
But the truth is that we miss them so. Like right now, it's interesting. One of my teachers called me today and she said, do you know what I did today? I said, what did you do? She said, I got in the car and I did drive-bys. I said, what do you mean? She said, I took the address list out and I drove by kids' houses and I beeped the horn to wave hello.
Oh,
because she missed them so much.
Oh my God.
And that's the point, that these professionals go the extra distance all the time to be there with those children. The parents are wonderful. The parents are very supportive. They don't always totally understand what's happening, but they're willing to say that. I don't really know why this works or how this works, but it's working. Can you try and teach me? And that's why the Coffee with Karen, sitting around my table every other Tuesday, I do a Coffee with Karen, very informal. I start with what's on your mind. What can we talk about? What are you questioning? That's why now, during this time, we're hosting weekly evening meetings with parents to find out what they're thinking, how they feel, how are we doing. Our parents they volunteer their time, they donate to our school, and they are the word of mouth. They help us to tell the story in the world.
Wow, what a vision, and just bringing together the community on so many aspects, and that care. I mean, I think that it also must take a lot of energy and effort to actually bring the right people in.
Absolutely.
And keep them together. So I just want to acknowledge, it's you're talking about it with such joy and light, but I want to acknowledge the immense amount of hard work it takes to be keeping this all together.
Yes.
And I'm sure yourself together with your team. And so the powerful ability to actually bring the team together, that can I just go out and acknowledge. So
we fuel each other, and we hold each other up at times when when things get tough. It is an awful lot of work, because it's not formulaic. You can't pull something out of a box and say, okay, I'll just do this tomorrow. It won't work. You have to always be on your toes. You have to be thinking. So when you talk about the types of people I'm hiring people who are thinkers, who love challenge, who are innovative, who can problem solve, who can take on more, and have an endurance and sort of a nimble nature, and a deep intellectual capability. So these are smart people. These are really smart people. These teachers are amazing. This couldn't happen but for the team that's around me.
Beautiful. Wow. So where do you see Voyagers going in the future?
Yeah. So interesting. As I mentioned, for me, Voyagers is a proof of concept. I have to say that I believe that education as it stands today is an absolute travesty. It is 130 years ago, right? Because of a visit to another country and then look at and how industrial education could be delivered, our system was revamped to be rows of desks, children lined up, rote memorization, and testing. And it has been the same for 130 years. We've had agricultural revolution, industrial revolution, technological revolution. Where's the education revolution? Why is it that we are still delivering education in the same way? And then bemoaning the results. If you talk to corporations, if you talk to employers, if you talk to small business owners, they're frustrated with what they encounter when they hire people, because people are sitting and waiting to be told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. That's what we've trained them for. That's what we've trained them for, right? And you'll see now corporations are starting to create their own schools within their companies and say to people, don't go to college, come here, we'll train you. Yes. Why? Because they need something different. We all need something different. This is an absolute travesty. Children are being used as a commodity. Schooling, traditional schooling, is nothing but a business. If you think about it, it is a business. We're selling books, we're selling testing, we're selling test preparation, we're selling. And then we're measuring the results on the backs of children. The children have to prove that the system works by getting a good grade on the test, and a better grade, and a better grade, and a better grade, and a better grade. That's all it is. That's all it is. Nobody is thinking about those children. They're not thinking about them. They're not thinking about them. And if they are, they're not thinking about Mary, right? And Ida, and these children in front of them. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about the test, the machine. They're thinking about the machine. So it is my absolute commitment to disrupt education. It has to be disrupted. It has to be done now. We have to demand more. We pay a lot of money to educate our children, and the result is abysmal. Why are we putting up with this? And why are we complacent about the fact that children there's a higher incidence of suicide, there's a higher incidence of anxiety, there's a higher incidence of self-harm, there's a higher incidence of bullying, children are isolating themselves in their homes. We have a major problem, and we are not addressing it. And so it is that's another piece that's a problem. We have fabulous wonderful teachers who just want to do their work. They want to do the magic of teaching it. You know, I say magic and I don't really mean it as a magical, it's magical when it works, right? They want to teach. We have professionals who have 4-year college degrees, master's degrees, postmaster's work, and we're telling them how to do, what to do, when to do. We do not let them think. We do not let them make decisions. We do not let them design programming. We do not let them hug a child. We don't let them do any of these things, right? So we have now a problem because teachers are coming into the field and they're staying for about 5 to 7 years and then leaving the profession. And we don't have teachers. We have teachers who are subverting the system, closing their door and trying to do these creative things. But why don't we just break it, bust it open?
Disrupt it.
Right, disrupt it, get rid of the test. I saw the other day that people are worried that because the schools are closed, how will we deliver the standardized test this year? And I thought to myself, is that really the first thing that comes to your mind? Is how can we solve this problem of delivering the test? Why? What is the test proving? It's one day in the life of a child. One day in the life of a child. And we're going to hang everything on the results of that test. So let's disrupt education. And let's use Voyagers as the proof of concept. And let's go out there and let's just shake it up. Let's shake it up and let's change it. Let's change it. That's where I'm at now. That's my mission. That's my vision.
What a mission and what a vision, Karen. And, you know, and we got Robert Gill saying, love Karen Giuffre. We all do. All right.
Love him too. Thank you.
Yes. Robin Crutch saying, I see it all the time, breaking their spirits, so much pressure, want them all to fit in a box.
Yep.
This is where we're at.
We are so out of the box. You know.
Yeah. So does it ever feel like, you know, the Voyager is like a little island that's isolated from everybody?
Well, only if you let it. We're not going to let it. We're not going to let it. I mean, our goal for the school itself is to grow the school. So we'd like to grow the school to 130 students. We'd like to we're a nonprofit organization, and our tuition is based on income, assets, and liabilities of each family. So we don't have a fixed tuition. We try and create a tuition that's affordable for everyone. And so that means that as a nonprofit school, trying to give the greatest accessibility, we need funding. So we're always looking for corporations and individuals and small businesses to fund us, to help with that. And then we want to go beyond that. We'd love to see a Voyager school in Vermont, and we'd like to see another one out in the Midwest, and we'd like to see another one, you know, on the West Coast, and maybe there'll be one in Hawaii, and maybe there'll be one down in Florida, and maybe there'll be more. But here's the real goal. I don't believe, I truly, let me say it this way, I truly believe that education is a right, and every child should have it, and the quality should be top notch. So I've created a private school, but in truth, I believe that this type of education should be available to every child. And so as a nation, we should be able to fund this type of education. It's not that it's more expensive, it's just different. In some ways, it's much simpler because we don't need a lot of things. Like if we need a 3D printer, we get a kit and the kids build it. You know, we don't have to buy the fanciest 3D printer or whatever it might be. So the goal is to broaden our reach, to not feel like an island, but to feel like a movement, to grow the school in numbers, to find funding for the school itself, but to find funding for this movement, and to disrupt education across the nation.
I want to just drop in the comments here. Peter Swain saying, the world, not just the US, needs Karen's mission to succeed. As an employer hiring university leavers, it is a depressing letdown almost every time. And I feel bad for the students. They're getting sold on an education that is not fit for purpose.
Yeah.
Right? That's
yes,
it.
Peter, yes.
It is a dark picture. But, you know, we have people like Karen who are taking a stand and making a huge difference. And I think, so where do you see, in terms of challenges, where do you see the biggest challenge of actually facilitating, enabling this mission to spread out around the US, around the world?
It's visionaries. I'm not the only visionary. There are many visionaries who see this with my lens, but also from their lens, right, from their perspective. And I think it's the gathering. It's a momentum. So if we can get more and more and more people engaged in this movement, we can get people to step up. We're not the only school like this. There are other schools like this. So if we can get them to come together and be a reflection of what can be, and just push it, move it. But I do think that it's going to come from, in some ways, in a sense, from the top down. From, as Peter says, as an employer, it's such a difficult challenge to find the people that you need. It's from people like those who feel the delusion of it. So I have people who will say to me, I did all the right things. I went to school. I worked hard. I got good grades, did well on my tests, got into an Ivy League college, did my 4 years, fabulous GPA, did the study abroad, did the internship, went and got my master's degree because I couldn't find work. So then I went and got a master's degree. And now I'm in the world. And why did everyone lie to me? Why am I so let down? Why is it that I can't find my place in this world? Imagine that. That's what we've done. We've lied to a whole group of people about what it takes to be quote unquote successful in this world. We haven't given them the tools. I say their tool bag is empty. It's empty. My students have a full tool bag, but their tool bag is empty. And there's too many of those people. But if we can get those people to speak up and to become part of the movement to change, I think this is absolutely doable because of, I think anything is possible.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Yes. So how do you see yourself and as, whoever is actually, understanding this mission or wants to stand behind that mission, how do you see us spreading this kind of thinking, this kind of visionary approach to education?
Yeah. So I hope to increase my access to platforms. And to speak to a broader, wider, deeper audience. I hope that people will stand beside me and share that in that conversation. I'm available. We have a website, so it's voyagerscommunityschool.org. We have a mission coming up called Mission 130. We did have to postpone it because of what's going on right now, but May 13th, we are getting together. May 19th, we are getting together. And we have a wonderful fundraiser coming up where it's our goal to raise $130,000. So we're using this concept of 130 years of failure, of absolute failure, as the motivator and the mission to make change. So change will be 130 students, $130,000 for the school, maybe more, who knows, but hopefully hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people who will get on board and will help to spread this word. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for platforms. I'm looking for, as many say, a stage and a mic, and an opportunity to continue this conversation.
Yes, the stage and the mic, and actually involving, because I think anybody who listens to you, we feel it, we know what's going on. It's just, to me, what happens is that people kind of resign themselves. Oh, this is our education. This is what we have to go with, because there's no other option. There are other options, and just spreading the word about the Voyagers School. And I believe other schools that are out there who are driven by similar mission, this is what we need to do. So it's a powerful vision, and I think that I want to honor your strength and your incredible persistence and the power of your voice, and at the same time I feel like we all need to come together to actually spread these kind of vision and stop, you know, being resigned to like, oh yeah, this is how it is. Because if we don't, then who else, right?
Exactly.
It's not going to
Exactly.
be. Yeah.
We
So
can't
I
sit
mean,
back and watch. We tell our children, you cannot be bystanders, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we
Mm-hmm.
have
Yeah.
to show them what it means. And we cannot be bystanders in this, because then we are part of it.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be part of it any longer.
Yes, Peter Swain saying, "Unblinded, smile."
Yes,
Yay!
unblinded.
Let's unblind the education in the United States and the world globally.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
But you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting because in a sense, it's like you said, we've become complacent. It's like we've put the blinders on ourselves. Like we take them off. Be unblinded. Be unblinded, and shout from the rooftops and demand more. It has to be the parents. It has to be the grandparents. It has to be political leaders, community leaders, business owners, corporations. We need to join together in a movement. So Peter's right. Be unblinded. Let's be unblinded. Let's take that unblinded, move ahead, move with it, move.
Right. And I mean, just what stands out for me too is that the parents and the grandparents in the family, and you know, need to get involved in that, because I think this is where the heaviest, I would see that the heaviest part of it is for the parents, you know, because they want their children to succeed in the educational system. But at the same time, you know, they see that it's not working. So it's really a catch-22, I would say, you know, for many parents, I believe. So, and I know you are involving parents, you're involving the entire community in the school, which to me, that's what really is standing out in your vision, apart from all the other amazing things. Wow.
Yeah. You know, it seems to me that your followers are talking about empowering their health, empowering their lives, right? But wouldn't their lives be empowered and more and increasingly healthy if in fact their children were feeling empowered and healthy?
Yes, exactly. I mean, you know, the community is not, you know, we cannot be healthy if our community is unhealthy. That is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So if our children are suffering, if they are not succeeding, or if they are failing because of the system that is absolutely upside down, well, we cannot feel empowered, healthy, or we cannot thrive. It's very simple. It doesn't take a lot of thinking. Wow, this is
and we don't have to reinvent it, because it existed.
It's there.
It can exist again, and we have the buildings, and we have the children, and we have the pieces.
We have trains.
We have wonderful teachers, and you know, we have the opportunity to make this happen. This is not. We're not reinventing the wheel. Right?
Exactly.
In fact, before this happened 130 years ago, what I'm doing is what education was.
Yes.
That's traditional education. This that's happened now, that's not traditional education. We have to look back before that to see traditional education. And then you'd say, oh, I see Voyagers school. I see what Karen's talking about. It's there. It was there. We broke it. We have to fix it.
Yes, going back to the roots and reinventing it within our new circumstances, like you're doing so beautifully today, right now, in this circumstance that we are facing. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, if any, I truly believe everybody who's listened to this, your mission and what you had to say today, and anybody hopefully who will listen to the recording, I know we are now all on fire to like bring change, you know, because this is really up to us. And I am sure that, you know, no one wants to see the world going into this repair and darkness, because our education is failing so pathetically. So, you know, but this is our work to do now. Stand up and start talking about it. So this is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And
I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say that if we were bringing to the fore innovative, creative, problem-solving, collaborative, thinkers,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest with you, I don't believe we would have the problem we're facing today, because we knew we had this problem,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't honor the innovators and the creators and give them the room and the tools and the finances necessary to solve this problem before it happened. We knew it was coming. We knew this was coming.
Yeah.
And had we honored the type of people that could come to the solution, I don't believe we would be where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
You can listen to Bill Gates in 2015 at a TED Talk talking about this happening and saying we can do something about this. And we did nothing. And I believe that we did nothing because we didn't find the people who could create the answers and the solutions and honor them and give them the room to do their work.
Mm-hmm.
All these children that I'm raising in my school and that could be raised in this approach, they would all be solutionaries. I follow Zoe Weil from the Institute for Holistic Education up in Maine, and she talks about developing solutionaries. It goes beyond beyond humanitarians to people who solve problems that make our world a better world. And I have children who are going to be those people. And we need more children who are going to be those people, because we would not be in the condition we're in today.
Solutionaries.
Yes.
I love this.
Yes.
Powerful. Karen, tell us, please, how can people get in touch with you? How people, whoever wants to support Karen's mission and vision, how can we get in touch?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the school website is voyagerscommunityschool.org. We have our handle on social media is Voyagers @VoyagersNJ. So you can find us on pretty much all the social media platforms. I can be reached directly at director@voyagerscommunityschool.org. And I am happy to hear from everyone and anyone. You're a believer, great. You want to question me, that's fine. You want to challenge me, come on. Please, just want to hear your voices. I want to hear from people. And I hope that I've stirred something in each and every person to say, let me help that school, let me help that movement, let me help our nation, let me help the world.
Well, yes, you stirred a lot of hearts today, and I know that you're doing that every single day, and with your presence and speaking with the community, speaking with organizations, and I know that your fire and your empowerment, your strength and your voice are absolutely outstanding. And I just want to say, it's not just to acknowledge you, but to actually say I'm so grateful that people like you are here in public and carrying that mission, because otherwise we have a very gloomy future to look into.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Let's turn it around. Let's turn the switch on and turn the light on.
Yeah.
As Karen likes to do every single day.
Yes.
Wow, I cannot say how grateful I am for you to be here and to share your mission and share your vision. I know that a lot of us here will be reaching out to support you. And please reach out to us as much as you can. I know that we're here to stand together because we all care about the future. Well, and it's been an incredible honor, Karen, to have you here and share your vision. Thank you so much. And I wish you just continuing successes. And I wish the situation right now will bring even more, strength and innovation into education. And I wish for all of us that this actually, whatever's happening right now is going to turn education around as well, globally.
Yeah, it's an opportunity. Let's see it as an opportunity. Let's see it as an opportunity to make change. So thank you very much for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you to your audience. And I look forward to more conversations as we go forward.
Yes, thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate you being here, sharing your comments. Please reach out to Karen. Please support her vision in whatever way you are able to. This is Monica, Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV, and we will speak to you soon. Thank you so much.